Three, two, one. Let's rock. Welcome back to the Fit Jacked and Stacked podcast. I'm your host, Joe Janiga, and thanks for joining me here again today. I am coming to you from the Iron Sanctum Studios, as we're calling it, home of the Iron Sanctum Gym as well. And that, of course, is owned by my friend and my cohort here at Gym Life Media, Dewonta Robinson. And he is putting together one hell of a facility right next door to the podcast room here. And boy, I can't say it enough. We're going to have a lot of fun in 2023 right here at Iron Sanctum, and we're going to try to get a lot of stuff going on here as well. So I'm talking about all these road trips over the last couple shows. We're going to try to get you guys to take a road trip into us, and what we're going to do is maybe throw a couple events here at the beginning of the year to get you in here and check out this facility and have some fun here and try to get some content with all you guys. So in any case, welcome back to the show, and welcome to the show. If you're a first-time listener and you're joining us as episode 7 kicks off here right before the holidays, I often say this is a Michigan-owned show, and it is, of course, because I'm broadcasting from Michigan. But, the cool part about this show and what I found is it's really resonating with everybody across the lifting and fitness community, throughout the Midwest already. I've had a lot of people reach out to me from a lot of other states and, of course, not limited to just the Great Lakes region either. I mean, we've had people reach out to me from, the South, Southeast, and the West, of course. And, I think in large part because a lot of our topics sort of resonate with everybody. It's not just the Michigan crowd, although we talk about Michigan-specific things. But this show will be another perfect example of that today. We're talking about some things that, of course, mean something to everybody as far as not necessarily where they're from, but kind of what they're associated with in the lifting community and the sports we're associated with. But, of course, any chance I get to shine a little extra love on what we call our home here in Michigan, I'm certainly going to do that because, obviously we've got a lot of stuff to brag about here, and we'll get on to a little bit of that today as well. But in any case, welcome back and welcome to the show. Trying to think, where do we want to start today? I think where I want to start is I want to make sure you guys are aware of that giveaway that we're doing. And I've got 3 great companies on board with that giveaway. And that giveaway, of course, is the holiday giveaway, and that's got Natural Disaster Sports Nutrition, or NDSN supplements on that, Jekyll and Hyde and Fit Fuel Box, and I've posted it on the Instagram accounts a couple times, and that is just the way you're going to enter. And there's several prizes that are going to be given away here, and these prizes will include some supplements from NDSN, cool sort of apparel package from Jekyll and Hyde, and then some meal prep packages from Fit Fuel Box. Some rather sizable prizes, really, guys. So it's worth getting on to the Fit Jacked and Stacked IG and making sure you follow and like that post on there, and you're entered into the drawing. And every time you share that post, we're going to enter you again in the drawing. Now, you can only win one prize, but as I'd mentioned on a couple previous shows, we're still a rather small contingency here, although we're growing. I think our last listens we were somewhere in the 500-600 range as far as our listenership goes, which for a new podcast, again, I'm super happy about. So there's just a real good chance for you guys to win, honestly. So if you get a few entries, there you go. You might have another surprise underneath the Christmas tree for you coming from Fit Jacked and Stacked and one of these great companies that we got on board with us here. So I encourage you to get involved in that giveaway because A, it's some cool shit that we're giving away, but B, these are local companies that represent the fitness and lifting community, and you know how big I am on that because it's without them, a lot of the competitions that we're a part of, couldn't happen, or they wouldn't happen at the scale that they're happening in, and it's because, of course, these people believe in what we're doing, and they have businesses that kind of circulate throughout the fitness and lifting community, and it's our job to support them because they come back to support us, and I'm always going to push that on this show, whether it's local companies like NDSN, Jekyll and Hyde, and Fit Fuel Box, and or some of these more national companies that represent all these great competitions we have here in the state. And a perfect example about that is, of course, some of the promoters here that use like Cerberus and Kratos and Depth Before Dishonor and some of these other companies, Axe and Sledge, that they reach out to that are a part of some of these bigger events. So without these guys, we can't do what we love to do at the level that we want to do it. So let's give back, guys. Let's make sure we even follow those guys and check out what they got going on. And, again, sign up for this giveaway. Really appreciate that. And, of course, here at Gym Life or here at Fit Jacked and Stacked, Gym Life Media, We don't get anything for that. I'm not asking for a dime. They're not giving me any free shit. They're just giving it away to you. Because quite frankly, if I get it, I'm going to give it back to you guys. So again, this is all about you guys and you guys, spreading the love back to them. So yeah, that's a good place to start for sure. What do we have going on this week? It's the first or second week here. What are we looking at? 2 weeks out from Christmas, I guess. Yeah, December 12th, right? 13th, 14th. Yeah, December 12th. So we're 2 weeks, man. We're right in the wheelhouse of the holidays right now. Not a whole lot going on, really, other than a lot of guys just sort of getting in this extra work in the gym and probably getting some extra meals in, and maybe some of these ladies out there not being too concerned with the physiques and having a little more fun with these Christmas parties and stuff like that. And this is a real fun time of year to kind of just relax a little bit and just sort of sit back and let our bodies heal up and get some good, calories in us and enjoy some good workouts with some people maybe coming back that are traveling home from the holidays. And, we're getting in this time maybe with some old lifting partners or, some groups that we haven't seen in a while at the gym even, which I really, really enjoy. I was actually going to talk about that Merry Liftmas, and I gave him a little bit of shit a couple episodes ago about not advertising that lift well enough on social media. And I'm glad I did listen, because I had such a great time there this weekend up in Mayville, and Corey Loper's the one that threw that. Corey's a big strongman. What a big dude too. I've seen Corey around before. I didn't realize that he was actually doing the Merry Liftmas, and I probably should have kept my mouth shut. Corey would probably drive me in the ground like a nail. He's a real big guy. He's a super heavyweight strongman. Real nice guy, soft-spoken. He has a great little event there, and I wish more people would know about it. So this year, Corey, I'm going to go into 2023 making sure that we grow that Liftmas event for you 3 or 4 times bigger than it was even this year with 20 or 25 people there, because I just think it's a great thing to do. You give away everything to charity. And guys, when I say everything, he gives away the $20 it costs you to enter it. He gives away every dollar he makes that day in supplements and in his own sales out of his own pocket. And everything that, of course, they monetize or sell at the facility there goes directly to feeding these local families and helping people out in need during the holidays. And I think we can all get on board with that. I'd like to see it even bigger, because I had such a great time there this weekend. It's only 3 lifts. We sat around bullshitting half the time and rooting each other on. It was a 18-inch deadlift. It was a yoke squat, and it was a candy cane hold. If you get on Instagram, you'll see a lot of guys holding up this big 20-pound candy cane for max time, and that's all it was. And we were there for about 3 or 4 hours, and we got a lot of good talking. Of course, I'm going to mention his name because I always do. I got made fun of it today or the other day because I always talk about Nick O'Hare. Hey, rightfully so. I mean, Nick's a badass pro in the state of Michigan. I'm going to talk about him all the time, but he's also a good friend of mine, and he's also super, super impressive at what he does. And of course, I like pointing that out on the show with anybody, powerlifters, bodybuilders, or anybody for that matter. So here's to you, Nick. Merry Christmas, and it was good running into you at the show. We did 18-inch deadlift. Nick was pushing me, of course, and I wasn't pushing him. He's an 1,100-pound 18-inch deadlifter. Guys, he's probably he's not probably. He is one of the best high pullers in the world. No doubt about it in his weight class. And Nick's a little thick right now. He's in the off season as well. I didn't ask him how much he was weighing, but he looked a good 230, 235 to me. But in any case, he pulled 1,100 pounds at the show, which is absolutely crazy. It's just nuts. The world record is, I think we talked about it, it's like in the high 1,000s, somewhere around there for his for the 105 class. I had no problem pulling that. He pulled 1,000, then he pulled 1,100. But I, on the other hand, had a pretty decent pull. I pulled 900, which I was very happy with that, in my hip, and all the progress that I'm making there, as I've talked about that enough times, that all you guys are aware of my my plight when it comes to making my comeback. So my hip held up for me, and I did a 900-pound 18-inch deadlift, which I think is, I don't even know where the record books are at, but it's up there. I'm feeling pretty good about that, being an older guy. So, and then, of course, we had the yoke squat. And the yoke squat was interesting. Let's just say that my hip did not agree with that. I'm glad we don't see that in any other strongman event on the planet because it's not a fun lift. It's just not. Maybe it'll be a part of this Merry Liftmas event, and that's fine. And I think we all had fun bitching about it a little bit because it wasn't easy. If you can imagine setting that yoke to almost a parallel position fitting yourself underneath of it, and then squatting up. Finding your groove there is very difficult. You're almost sumo squatting to get that up to height. And of course, it's not an easy position to begin with. And for me, I had no problem getting up 600 pounds. It was kind of butter, really. It came right off the ground real quick. It was smooth. But once I started kind of getting up in weight, I felt that pressure with my legs in like a sumo style trying to squat out on my hip a little bit. And nothing that alarmed me. It was more or less, hey, you're not quite ready to start doing this at a real heavy weight yet. My hip reminds me of that from time to time with some of the things that I do. And that yoke squat being as unusual as it was in such a weird position, I had a really good first lift, and I just kind of said, okay, I'm not going to chance it from here. But, I think 700 pounds was about the max everybody was doing. Nick, of course, tried some crazy, I don't know what it was, like 800 and some pounds, and he missed it, so he is human. But in any case, that was fun. And the candy cane hold, listen, how much can you endure holding something in front of you like a hammer hold or a Thor hammer hold, that kind of thing? I went like 2.5 minutes. I beat Cody. That's all I was trying to do was beat Cody Rebarger and a Rebarger, and I did because like he's my redheaded stepchild, literally redheaded. Maybe not my stepchild, but certainly young enough to be my illegitimate son at this point. But Cody had a great day too, and he pulled 700. Who else had a good day out there? Brendan White did too. Brendan, as a U80 guy, I think Brendan pulled like 700 himself. He's been working hard. And he's going to be fun to watch come up in the future here. And he's one of these guys you can kind of peg already. If he keeps his shit together and he stays healthy, he keeps training hard, which I know he will. He's a student of the sport. Brennan's one of those guys that is going to get his pro card someday. And that is not an easy task to do that in the U80 or U90 class, either or for him, of course. As he gets bigger, he may find himself in that U90 class before he knows it. But that U80 class is the Dragon's Den as well. And I can tell you, he's a guy that's putting himself in a real good position to have a really good year in 2023 and give it a run, I would say, in the next 2 to 3 years. But at the way he's progressing right now, Brendan, great job, man. That was one hell of a pull, a real big confidence builder for him. Because to be good in the U90 or U80 class or any class for that matter anymore, you're really got to be a good puller. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The majority of that sport is based in the posterior chain. And you got to learn how to pull from all depths, and that being, from the floor, 13 inches, 11 inches, 18 inches, different apparatuses, of course, axle, even a stiff bar or deadlift bar in some cases. And you never know what you're going to run into, so you better be a good puller. Great job, Brendan, watching you pull out there. Pretty impressive. So, yeah, Merry Liftmas. Corey, good event. Glad I made it, and that was a lot of fun. I was on about 5 hours sleep and managed through the day and got out of there at 3 o'clock, went home, took a nap, and I was ready to go. I had a question last week about powerlifting, or it was powerlifting. Who are the best powerlifters in the state of Michigan? And, of course, that's super subjective, you guys. I know it is. Matter of fact, a lot of you guys are probably, dude, that it's not my pick, or you missed this guy, or you missed this girl. I get it. I'm generalizing, of course, but I think we can all argue these people probably were the best that I mentioned, or at least in that top 5, top 10 anyhow. I would say top 5 for sure. But I also got the same question, of course, because I knew one of you guys was going to say, okay, well, who are the best strongmen in the state of Michigan? And who are the best strongmen in the state of Michigan? I didn't even write it down. I'm just going to guess for you guys. I'll tell you who I'm going to start with. No surprise, right? Who out there is going to say it before I'm going to say it? Yep, Nick O'Hare. Nick is on that list, of course. Yes, you can't deny Nick his strongman status here in the state of Michigan. He is a pro strongman. He is one of the best strongmen in the state. Goes without saying. I think all the pros deserve to be on that list. Nick Davis, of course, Bill Kendall. Who am I missing? Oh, boy, I'm missing somebody. I always do. Anyhow, we got that other guy, too, and I forgot your name. Shoot, I got to remember it. I should have wrote it down. He's in the U90 class. Or U80 class, I think, and he got his pro card as well. It'll come to me. In any case, I think you put the pros on that list first, and all those pros deserve to be there. As far as the women goes, I'm not sure if we have a women's pro yet in the state of Michigan. And not that we don't have some real quality women in the state of Michigan, but it's just because the pathways right now, there's not too many of them to earn your pro status. I think nationals for a woman or the Arnold Amateur is the only way to win your pro status in strongman or in strongwoman. So with that said, one person comes to mind for me, and it's just because she's tenacious, and I've watched her compete not only at some of the local shows at a very high level and at nationals, but she was also invited to OSG this year, which, as far as I'm concerned, and not because I was invited, but as far as I'm concerned, whether I was invited or not, if you get invited to OSG, you're considered one of the top 30 or 40 people in the world in your class, and you deserve to be on that list too, and that's Amber Klein. So Amber would be one of the women that come to mind, and I'm not super familiar with the women's scene yet in the state of Michigan, although I should be. I tend to be a little bit more broader vision when it comes to the national scene and the pro scene, but certainly in the state of Michigan, I tend to find myself falling more into that super heavyweight class because I think that's really where Michigan lies as far as, the prize of the community is concerned. And to take nothing away from any other class, and I mentioned a couple guys just a minute ago. I think all three of the guys besides Nick Davis I mentioned that are pros are not in the super heavyweight class or the heavyweight open class. It's because I think our super heavyweight class has got a real interesting thing going on right now. None of these guys are pros. And you guys have heard me talk about it on other shows, I'm sure, and made reference to several of these guys over and over again because I just think they're hard workers. They're guys that deserve to be mentioned. I think they deserve to be mentioned at the national level, and I think they deserve to be mentioned certainly here within the state as the guys that tend to be at the top or in those talking points, year after year, contest after contest. Those are the contests that they enter, of course. I think, of course, we can all say Jake Harmon's that guy, 4-time winner of the Great Lakes Strongest Man. He's going to be competing at War of the North. In the last 2 years, Jake has done no other show. That's what he does. He goes to the Great Lakes. He wins the Great Lakes, the biggest show in the state of Michigan, and he waits for people to come compete against him, and he beats them every single year. Jake's the kind of guy that could be a pro if he wanted to be. He chooses to. He chooses not to. He's got a very interesting. He's a very interesting guy that's got a great following. If you ever follow him on TikTok, Stone Bear, Instagram, Stone Bear 369. Jake is a wealth of talent in the strongman community, and he's one of the bigger personalities in the sport. And some of the stuff that he does on these social media sites is hilarious. He's the loudest guy on social media. There's no doubt about it. But he's also one of the strongest guys, if not the strongest guy in the state of Michigan, arguably, and maybe one of the strongest guys in the United States in the super heavyweight class if he ever decided to compete outside of the state of Michigan, which I highly doubt. So right now his infamy will stand tall here within the boundaries of our Great Lakes. And if you want to try to face Jake and come and beat him, you have to do it at the Great Lakes Strongest Man or War of the North in February. With that said, it's probably a good segue to talk about that George Bullard when he broke into last week's show and talked about the bounty that he's put on Jake Harmon's head. If any person, super heavyweight, in the United States can beat Jake Harmon at the Great Lakes Strongest Man in 2023, not only will you, I think he said, win your pro card or have an opportunity to go to the USS Pro Show. I can't remember what that is now. To win your pro card or to get your pro card. Maybe you get your pro card now that I think about it, because Willie will be there. He's going to make that a pro qualifier, that class. You will also get a $1,000 bounty to beat Jake Harmon. If 15 guys enter this class, that bounty's raised to $1,500. If 20 guys enter that class, the bounty's raised to $2,000. So that's for anybody that hears this within the United States and beyond. Canada, you're welcome to join in the fun. If you can come to the Great Lakes in 2023 and beat Jake Harmon, not only will you have an opportunity to win your pro status, you will also win a pocket full of money. I'm confident that it will be a battle of a lifetime. Whoever you are that decides to come and take him on, it will not be an easy task. Be prepared to train and be prepared for the fight of your life in strongman. That's how good Jake Harmon is. However, I do think he can be beat. And I would love to see that battle take place. I will root for my hometown guy all the time. So with that said, I'll be very biased. I'm going to root for Jake Harmon. However, I want to see somebody take him on that's noteworthy. I've said it before. I want to see guys around the world, or at least in the nation here, at a higher level in all these weight classes, attempt to try to beat the best guys in these classes And it's up to all of us from our own hometowns all over the United States to take pride in the people we have in our sports and talk shit about them everywhere we go to get more people interested in competing against them. Because who doesn't want to see the best compete against the best? I am certainly one of them. So Jake Harmon's high on that list. Boy, that was a long rant about Jake Harmon. Another guy I have on that list is Jake Webb. Jake Webb may be the antithesis to Jake Harmon. He is always giving Jake a battle. It's been the battle of Jakes for quite some time now. Sadly, Jake Webb is always kind of been the bridesmaid, never the bride. And that's no knock on you, Jake. I respect the hell out of you. You're a strong dude. And you're certainly worthy of the mention of one of the best guys in the state of Michigan. I love that about Jake. He's tenacious himself. He competes at a super high level everywhere he goes. Not really a weakness in his game, and he's always trying to improve his game. He brought on Ben Paulai, RPG last year, which, of course, I talked all about those guys all the time, guys. You know it. I'm going to mention some other people here today as well. Don't worry. But he's got significantly better this last year and felt like maybe he was going to give Jake Harmon a little bit better of a run for his money at Great Lakes, which he did. But I think because of the size of that class this year and the reason that so many guys sort of fell out of that class was maybe the reason why things maybe got a little skewed. I thought it could be a little bit tighter if you followed the Great Lakes 2023 this year. It wasn't quite as tight as I thought, but it wasn't bad. And I say that because there's a lot of gamesmanship in that. We were hoping for a bigger class because that bigger class provides some point stealers, some guys that could have maybe, kind of tightened up that top 3, top 4 a little bit. But in any case, Jake Webb was right there pushing Jake to the very end of that show and came in second place. So he's on my list. Of course, the Erdman brothers are high on my list as well. Goes without saying. I think James was at the OSG competition, or was it Michael? No, geez, I can't. You guys look so much alike too. I think it was James. I think James was at the OSG last year. I don't think he went this year for some reason. But in any case, as far as super heavyweights goes, those two are like really high on my list as well. They're giant men. They both compete at a super high level. And I didn't get a chance to really watch them much last year. Neither one of them got to the Great Lakes. They were supposed to both be in it. And in any case, I think it was just an off year for the Erdsmans. But they're going to be back at a real high level. They compete at Unreal Fitness in Grand Rapids, or at least train there. And those guys are going to give it. They're all in 2023. It's going to be fun. I should reach out to you guys, too, and find out what you got going on so I can start, hyping some of the stuff up that we got coming up in 2023. And then the other guy on my list is a guy that I've been behind since I saw him do some pretty amazing things on Instagram, online, and that, of course, is Matt Kehoe. I've gotten behind Matt Kehoe. I've gotten behind his abilities, which are stupid, sick stuff. I mean, this guy does some crazy deadlifting, crazy log pressing. He's really got a wealth of talent. And Matt, I know, listen, I say it the way I see it. I don't think you're going to have a problem with me saying this. If Matt could put together a game plan and go into a show and not have something happen where, we hear it all the time, guys. Guys will get ready and they look like the world beaters and they get to a show and there's just some one-off that takes place or it's just not the perfect show and they don't find themselves where they wanted to be. I think Matt, it would be the first one to say that was 2022 for him. He just didn't have the year he wanted, but the dude is statically one of the strongest guys that I've ever seen. He's a wealth of talent. He's got a lot of time ahead of him. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Once Matt pulls it all together and he gets himself in a position where I think, Matt, where you build your confidence up at these shows and you start doing what everybody knows you can do, I have no reason to doubt that Matt Kehoe is going to be a professional strongman someday, competing at the very highest level. So there you go. Just the way I see it for all those guys, in my opinion, are some of the best guys in the state of Michigan in strongman. So to answer the question that was sent to me, who are the best strongmen in the state? Well, rewind this because those are my guys, I would say. And I'm very keen on the super heavyweight scene. Again, no knock on any other class out there, but get me thinking about you, get everybody thinking about you, start doing some crazy shit out there. And I'm sure I'll be talking about you right away too. Not that you're looking for, me to give you any pat on the back, but I think that we have a really cool super heavyweight contingency right now in the state of Michigan, as well as a real cool heavyweight class that are only getting bigger and stronger as well. So we're going to see a lot of cool stuff coming from all those guys here in 2023. So can't wait. I think we're going to do kind of like a prediction show here at Fit Jacked and Stacked, by the way. Maybe right after the first of the year, leading into that first week, I'll reach out to you guys and maybe we can do some fun predictions about what we anticipate, not only here at the state level, but at the national level. I think that's always fun to kick off the new year, not just from a strongman standpoint, but we'll do it from a powerlifting standpoint. We'll talk about some records maybe. We'll talk about who we expect to kind of come out of those scenes in the bodybuilding scene and some of these other scenes as well. And maybe just make some national predictions, that kind of thing, maybe some pro predictions in all those classes and all those groups as well. I think that's always a fun way to kick off the new year. So I'm kind of making a note here to myself right now that we should do that show because I'd like to reach out to some of you guys and get your opinion on all those questions that I've been posed over the last year myself as far as what we expect going into 2023. What do we got going in bodybuilding? That's one thing that I didn't really check too much on because there's not a lot going into bodybuilding, right? I mean, what do we got left, guys? We have the Olympia. That is it. And I think you guys have heard enough from me already as far as where we're going to be. We're going to be at the Olympia, of course. I've said it a million times. I'm going to be co-hosting the Monica Brandt show out there with Gym Life Media, of course, and flying out this Wednesday. So you guys will hear this on Monday or, whenever you listen to it. Wednesday the 14th is when I'm going out there, and I'm going to be representing the Monica Brandt show. I will be her co-host. That'll be live streamed on YouTube all around the world through ADL Live. And we're going to be interviewing some really big guests, mostly bodybuilders and fitness, wellness, figure, women competitors, obviously being the Olympia. But, the Olympia Expo is much, much bigger than that now. It's really making a run at being the biggest expo in the United States, second only arguably to the Arnold. And in all honesty, I don't even know if you can say that it's second to anybody because the Arnold, as we all know, in previous years has not been a very good. It's been substandard by far. Now, of course, I hear that the Arnold is going to be revamped this year. We'll probably be down there. I say we, Gym Life Media. I know ADL Live now is going to be live streaming much of the Arnold Classic this year in Columbus. So they're already upgrading their production down there, guys. That's a very good indicator. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff and a lot of fun changes going on with the Arnold, the new group that purchased the Arnold. So expect that show to get better and better. But in the meantime, the Olympia isn't taking any prisoners either. And they're actually producing a show now that's expo caliber, high-level world stuff. So not just a bodybuilding show with a bunch of vendors anymore. They've brought in America's Strongest Man and America's Strongest Woman. Hallelujah. We're finally getting the biggest stage in the world to represent, arguably some of the best athletes in the world in the strongman community. Not to go back to strongman, but that is a great thing. Then, of course, they're going to be representing not only the strongman community, the bodybuilding community at large, but I understand they have a lot of other things going on there at the expo through fitness and wellness, and I think some powerlifting as well. So they're really turning it into, the best expo or to be in the top of the food chain as far as expos go in the world. And what better place to do it than in Las Vegas, Nevada? I mean, can you have a better backdrop than Las Vegas for the biggest lifting and fitness and competitive fitness and bodybuilding expo, however you want to define it, in the entire world? I don't think you can. I think Vegas is probably it. So we're going out there. We're going to have a great time. Our booth is literally right next to the strongman stage, so I'll get to see all that. Of course, I've got access to everywhere in that show, so I plan on trying to rub elbows with and meet as many people as I possibly can. To bring back to all of you, honestly. That's kind of why that's of course why I'm doing it. I also want to meet all these people because many of them I've been a big fan of my entire life. Ever since I started lifting, there's some iconic figures there that I want to meet. And, of course, I want to try to meet all these people, build some relationships with them, and get an opportunity maybe to get them on one of these podcasts and, do some different collaborative things with them to bring them to all of you and closer to home. So I'm really looking forward to this opportunity to get out there and have this fun with Monica Brandt and, of course, the group that we have going out there, including Don and Nancy from ADL Live. So that is going to be a blast. We're setting up on Wednesday. Thursday, we're setting up and doing a couple dinners and both those nights with some people. And we're going to be, getting ready on those days as well. Oh, we're going to be going to Iris Kyle's Powerhouse Gym there We're going to be going to Flex Lewis's gym as well, the Dragon's Lair. We're going to be doing some fun content stuff there and hanging out and meeting some of these pros. And those places will be packed with like probably the most interesting people within the community there. Of course, because the 2 days prior to the Olympia, all these, who's who and all these celebrities and superstars, including some actual celebrities and superstars outside of the lifting community, are going to be there in Vegas for this show. So, wow, it's just going to be sort of a who's who, and hopefully we get a chance to meet some cool people. And I have no doubt that we're going to meet some cool people, but throw some really top-end celebrities on that list. Wouldn't that be awesome? And get them on the show. So you guys can actually go on to Gym Life Media YouTube or the Monica Brandt Show YouTube, and we're going to be live streaming at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, no, wait a second. For you guys in Michigan, that would be 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Both Friday and Saturday. That'll be live streamed at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And, of course, you guys do the math with that. Add 3 hours to both of those, and that will give you 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., and that is going to be your time slot here on the East Coast to watch those shows. So tune in, anytime you want, and I'm sure you're going to catch myself and Monica with somebody and talking to them. And we'll take an occasional break here and there, but we're recording and running some of these things during those breaks as well. I think we have an hour break like twice a day. So we'll actually be live streaming and live commentating for 6 hours during that expo on both those days. And then, of course, in the evening, hopefully, having some fun there, dinner, drinks, and all that kind of stuff, meeting some people and being able to bring some fun conversation back to all you guys. I can't wait. I'm jacked up, man. I'm jacked up. As fun as this is going to be, it's going to be a work trip. It will be a work trip. I keep reminding myself of that. Joe, do not go out. Don't have Taylor talk you into going out on Friday and Saturday night and painting the town red. I'm trying to keep myself off that ledge, guys, because my roommate is not afraid to have a good time wherever he goes. One of the best coaches in the nation, also not afraid to have a good time. So I'm going to make sure that I don't fall into that trap and find myself trying to commentate from the Olympia Expo on Saturday on 2 hours sleep. So in any case, we're gonna have a lot of fun and having fun meeting all these big names out there and all these big athletes and all these big companies. And so, okay, Joe, shut up about it. So the Olympia, cross that off my list. Powerlifting. I did have a Gym Bro question too. I'll get to in just a second. Powerlifting, not much today to talk about. Honestly, we did that last week, and if you guys didn't see the show that I did with Ben Pauli, Brent Adziano, and Brendan Rosenberg from RPG on Coaching Revolution, please go check that out. It's amazing. Maybe the most brain power I've been surrounded by within the lifting community in the same room as them in a long time. All three of those guys are super intellectual when it comes to what they do in strength sports coaching. And together they make a super team. They are truly a super team, and their insights were, blowing my mind. And they also gave me a kind of a sneak peek at what they're going to do, and we shared that with all you guys about the Coaching Revolution, which is going to be their new website that's coming out. That's just a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge that they're sharing with the masses, of course, everywhere. So you'll hear me pushing that more and more here on the show, and try to get them out to you guys because they're worth getting to know. If you're somebody in the community that is into strength sports or training to get stronger, whether you're in competition or not, you want to listen to what these guys have to say and see if they're the right fit for you. They certainly have the right knowledge. But, when it comes to coaching, I'll say it, about anybody. There's a lot of great coaches out there, but you got to have a good fit with who you're working with. I wouldn't have any problem working with all three of those guys. I don't think a lot of people would at all. Obviously, Ben is a very aggressive character to most, but the dude, if you like that kind of coaching style, then Ben's the guy for you for sure. And I think a lot of guys and gals appreciate that within the strength sports community. So in any case, check out that. That's kind of my powerlifting take today. Oh, no, it's not. Jeremy down at Raw Strength, Muller, what is it? Jeremy, you're going to kill me. I can't remember your last name now. Raw Strength in Kalamazoo. I just want to give a shout out to them. They got some cool things that they're doing down there at Raw Strength. it really is very evident that Jeremy's putting himself in a position to be one of the more recognizable facilities on the west side of the state there, and I love seeing this. I love seeing guys go after it with their gyms, and we've seen that, of course, with RPG and Unreal Fitness and Coops up in Saginaw and a lot of other ones that you hear me talk about repeatedly on this show. In large part, it's because these guys are all doing some pretty special stuff. Jeremy's no different down there at Raw Strength in Kalamazoo. He's always got some seminar going down there, whether that's with powerlifting or strongman or bodybuilding. He's also sponsoring events or hosting events there for both strongman and powerlifting. He's got a arrangement with the Michigan State University powerlifting team to be some spotters for the USAPL and be their like chosen spotting group. And so he's participating with all these different powerlifting groups and strongman groups as well, which I love to see. He's also bringing in Inez Carrasquillo. Inez is a friend of mine. She's from out west. She's a pro strong woman. And Jeremy's bringing her in for a strong man, strong woman seminar in January. I thought I wrote that down. I think it's January 28th. And I think that's super cool. And I think it's cool on a bunch of different levels because, A, it gives us an opportunity to meet people that we should all be following anyhow within these strength communities because we have access to them through social media. But it's cool that he's gone the extra step to bring these people in person to us to be able to meet them kind of on a more social level. They're right there in his gym, and that's really cool to build those type of relationships with people. So if you are in the strong woman community and you want to be coached or have a day where there's a seminar that's teaching you a little bit about the sport, I can tell you Inez is the perfect person for that. I think Inez took second or third in the world this year at official strongman games. She's been a pro since last year, and honestly, prior to that, I don't think she lost an event all season long, including the Beer Stone, including did she win Clash? I'm not sure. She's been podium everywhere she goes, even as a pro. So Inez is one of the best in the world, arguably one of the best, if not the best in the world, according to her resume. And she'd be a lot of fun to see that. I'm going to be down there for sure. I will not miss Inez if she's coming close to us here in the state of Michigan. I've only known her through interviewing her and talking to her online and on the phone. So I'm looking forward to meeting her in person for the first time as well. So good job, Jeremy. Shout out to you, man. I think that's awesome what you're doing at your facility. And you have my backing 100%, man. Anything you need, you reach out to me and let me know. And with the small audience I have, I'll make sure that they're aware of what you got going on. And look forward to getting down there to a couple of those things this winter that you're shaking loose down there. So really, really cool stuff. And I hope more gyms bring this accessibility to these type of seminars and these type of athletes to all of us here in the state of Michigan, because it's only going to make us even better. But it also, makes us a bit more recognizable too. I think we have a great strength and bodybuilding community here in the state. And when you see people coming in from around the world and around the United States to do these seminars, to represent at these facilities, guys, that says something about what we got going on here too. It means we have a public or we have a general lifting community that not only gravitates for that kind of thing, but also appreciates it. And that says a lot about our state and everybody out there because we're getting better. We're becoming a focal point in the Midwest as far as our strength athletics are concerned and our bodybuilding is concerned. And that is high praise for sure when you have these top-level athletes say, yeah, I got to get to Michigan. I want to be a part of that crowd. So, great job, Jeremy. Congratulations. Oh, boy. What else? I had a question. This is a Jim Bro question. It was brought up to me about 3 different times over the last week when I put that out on Instagram, when I do that every week for you guys to reach out with your questions and comments. I got one, how do you grow your traps? I got one yesterday that was, I want bigger triceps. I think somebody made a mention of I had one arm that was bigger than the other last week. Somebody was joking about it. Why is your one? It was because my sleeve was down on one side. It was up on another. But in any case, somebody made mention about my triceps. And, again, I'm bro science, guys. I'm not going to be a coach or a trainer here, but I'll give you my 2 cents. And I had some other comment just on general thickness and size. And it had to do with bodybuilding because there's a lot of bodybuilders. And this one actually came in person where I was having a chat with a guy, and he kind of wanted to be a bodybuilder, and he was talking about how, he doesn't have a problem getting wider. He's just trying to get thicker because, when you look at some of these powerlifters and strongmen or even the old bodybuilders, they tend to have a lot more 3-dimension to them as they turn sideways. And it's funny that, that was a young guy that brought that up, because it just shows that he's insightful and he kind of sees the difference between, some of these physiques that are more two-dimensional compared to some of them that are more three-dimensional. But there's a common denominator to a better-looking physique, in my opinion, and that's just when you get that grainier muscle, that deep, denser, thicker muscle. And it's by no surprise you're seeing that more within the powerlifting and strongman community these days, or at least you're identifying with it more as a young person, because you're seeing these guys with these huge monstrous traps, thick backs, big triceps. Maybe because in large part, both these communities, both powerlifting and strongman, you're seen to be more athletic types, more people that are looking athletic, so they're not hiding behind all this bulk anymore, and you're getting a real chance to kind of see what kind of muscle they're bringing into the game as well. Even though both those sports aren't judged on the amount of muscle you have, of course, it's more on strength performance, or entirely on strength performance. It is a different era that we're in now, that we're seeing these strong men, strong women, and powerlifting men and women that are bringing these crazy ass physiques to these competitions, where if you saw them on the street, you can argue, man, maybe this person's a bodybuilder. And listen, that's no put down to any strength athlete. When somebody compares you to a bodybuilder, they're immediately saying you have an awesome looking physique and you look lean and it looks like you can get on stage if you wanted to. So that is no knock on anybody. And I think the reason you're seeing that more in the strength community is because we're finding out that the strength community, better performance lies in more fit physiques. We don't have to carry around. And a couple shows ago, I had made mention that I was dirty bulking. It was a bad move, all that, blah, blah, blah. It's because we're finding out if we're more athletic and we keep our bodies in a better place athletically, and it's going to carry over better to our performance, and we can compete at a higher level with our strength. That's no secret. The days of carrying around 350 pounds to be a super heavyweight at an athletic competition at 5'10", 6 foot, 6'2", those days are over with. These guys now are shedding all those pounds, coming in very athletic and very strong at a much more aesthetic looking physique than in the old days in powerlifting and strongman. And to no surprise, we just know how to get it done better. So what these young guys and young gals are seeing now is they're seeing the development of these physiques, and it's sort of doing a little head scratching, because they're lifting in the gym year after year in their mid-20s and late 20s, and they're getting to a point where they're starting to say, okay, where's that growth that I've been looking for? When is it going to finally get here? And a lot of times they don't see that thick, dense muscle like you would expect after years and years in the gym training. And it all comes down to a real simple sort of observation, if you haven't picked up on it yet, and you know where I'm going with this. It's compound movements. All this social media monkey see, monkey do shit that we see going on out there right now is really not doing its job in providing the right, providing the right information on a glance to these people that are lifting or that are trying to come into the lifting community and get bigger, denser, more bulkier, muscular physiques, because all they're seeing on there is this hypertrophy stuff that's 20 rep sets and this is how you grow. It's all nonsense. We know it is. It doesn't work like that. It looks good, right? You see these bodybuilders doing that and you think, well, I'm a monkey see, monkey do. This is all I need to do. And a lot of these guys and gals won't touch a compound movement. They won't touch weight. They won't push themselves to that extreme. And as a result, their physiques are suffering from it. They're being more two-dimensional. You can't do everything with hypertrophy. You can't do everything with the drugs or whatever else in the supplements or the diet. It's not going to change your physique from two-dimensional to three-dimensional. It's just simply not going to happen. You have to push weight around. And that's what I told this guy. I said, listen, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. I said, start bench pressing, or at least incline bench pressing for all you out there that want to save your shoulders or think that's a big fear anymore, which it shouldn't be. There's a right and wrong way to do everything. Get on the deadlift, get on the squat. And if you don't like to squat fully, get on the box squat. And if you don't want to deadlift fully, get on the 13-inch pull or the 11-inch pull or the 18-inch pull. There's other ways to get the job done if you're worried about range of motion or you don't have it or you're worried about injury and all that bullshit, which don't even get me started on that. It doesn't exist if you're doing it right. It doesn't exist if you're getting the right information. That's all old school stuff, and all that injury took place before people knew what the hell they were doing or didn't have the right information in front of them to get the job done right. So what I've seen is kind of like this new era of lifting, particularly with these guys coming up through the lifting community right now that are just ignoring the compound movements. And why? Why are they ignoring the compound movements? Why are we not seeing effort put in? And I'm not talking about max effort. How about 5x5s? That's about as old school as it gets, isn't it, guys? How about do some 5x5s? I'm not asking you to bench your max weight every time you go in the gym. We all know that's the wrong position to take. But why aren't we seeing some of the more simple programming with heavier weight? I'll tell you why. Laziness. Pure and simple, it's laziness. It's lazy. They don't want to push themselves. They'd rather go into the gym and get this pump on. Oh, I'm going to get my pump on. And if I do that right, and I eat right, and I supplement right, and I do everything else right, my muscles are going to get big because I don't have to be strong to be big. Or I don't have to be big to be strong, whatever the saying is, right? And that's kind of been, it's kind of been a part of like that whole dynamic now in bodybuilding where if I don't lift heavy weights, I'll be okay. I can still get big by doing all this lightweight a bunch of fucking times. Nonsense. It's all nonsense. First off, you're not being told the truth if somebody's telling you that or somebody's coaching you that. It's not true. You have to do compound movements. You have to put your body under weight. I don't care what anybody says. Every guy I know out there that I admire their physique, whether that's a strongman, powerlifter, or bodybuilder, there's a common denominator between all of them. They know there's a right time to put in the heavy weight and to put in the work. You have to get under heavy weight to build that deep, dense muscle tissue. You're not going to do it solely with drugs, supplements, and hypertrophy training or high volume training. You're just not going to do it. And what's going to happen is you're going to build a pretty good physique. It's probably going to be better than most out there. There's no doubt about it because most people don't lift and get in the gym. Listen, if you're in the gym, you're looking good, you're getting in the gym every day, you're eating halfway decent, you're putting in your time, and in the first couple of years you're there, you're going to be a 5%er in the world, meaning that 5 out of 100 people probably don't look as good as, or probably look as good as you and the rest don't. That's an easy thing, guys. Don't pat yourself on the back for that shit. All you're doing is getting in the gym, putting some work in. If you want to take it to the next level, and I'm not even talking about a pro level, I'm just saying being that guy that not only gets a head turn, but it gets a jaw dropped, then you have to start getting underweight. Start getting underweight and pushing weight. If I see another tricep push down done and people expect to have, pieces of meat hanging from their arms on the back side of their arms as triceps, you're not going to get it. You have to do the closed grip benching. I mean, okay, maybe not the skull crushers, right? If you're one of those guys that, even like myself, hurts the fuck out of my broken hands or my wrists. There's variations of that movement to get yourself underweight. Heavy dips. I'm not talking the dip machine and rep it out for 20 or 30. Do the old-fashioned way. Put a belt and a chain around you and drop some weight. Do some heavy dips. Closed grip benching. I mentioned that. There's a power push down. If you only have a push down apparatus in your gym off a multi-station, there's a way to make that heavy. Get over the weight and push it down the right way, as if you're kind of pushing yourself up off a ledge. This Tyrannosaurus Rex arms tricep push downs, that's not going to build you big, juicy triceps that are strong. It's just not. It's not. Yeah, you might get a little horseshoe in the back, and when you get all, leaned out and you go to the beach and the girls are grabbing your arms and maybe that's your goal, that's fine. But if you want some fucking, these ape hangers, these arms that are, I picture a guy riding a motorcycle and the only thing shaking is his tricep. Yeah, you want those kind of triceps? Yeah, you better get under some weight. So the question was, what can I do to grow my triceps? Push downs, for sure. Not push downs, excuse me. Closed grip bent, skull crushers, weighted dips. But, guys don't want to do that kind of work. They don't. That means they have to get under heavy weight. And there's a lot of work. Boy, they're going to have to put in effort. They don't, oh, what do you mean? I can't just rep it out and get a good pump? Fuck no. Get to work. And I'm going to say that about everything. Deadlifts, bench press, squats, overhead pressing. You better start working all those in because if you want thick, dense muscle, strong muscle that people are going to turn their head and drop their jaw, get to work out there. Start getting to work. Quit with all this monkey see, monkey do shit, thinking that there's a better way to get it done because it's easier. I'm going to tell you right now, if it's easier, it's not better. It's not. It's certainly not in the lifting game. If you're dreading going into the gym because you got to get underweight, I want a little bit of a sigh every time, and I want you to be thinking about it as you're going to the gym, and I want you to go, oh, fuck, it's going to be a good one today. Kind of like, oh, shit, here it comes. Get my ass ready. Get my mind in the right spot because it's time to push weight. There's not enough guys that do that anymore. There's just not. But the guys that do it, you know who they are. The guys at the top of their game. I mention those guys every day on this show or every time I do this show. There's a reason I'm mentioning all the people I mentioned, the best power lifters and the best strongmen. It's no secret. They have a common denominator. They all do. They're not afraid to push heavyweight, and they challenge themselves to do it, to get bigger and to get stronger. And listen, even aesthetically, if you're not competing, listen, there's nothing wrong with being bigger and stronger, right? Don't give me that excuse anymore where I want this, I want this, I want this, but you know what? I'm not competing, so there's got to be a different way to get there. Well, I don't need to overhead press. I mean, I'm not a strongman, or I don't need to deadlift. I don't want to hurt my back. I mean, listen, there's a whole bunch of excuses not to do something. Yeah, don't use one. And if you're going to use one, just quit asking, and don't think you're going to solve the problem by going another route, because you're simply not. You're not going to do it. You show me any guy with a great physique, whether he's a bodybuilder, strongman, or a power lifter, and I guarantee you there's a common denominator between all of them, and it's called heavyweight and pushing heavyweight. All right, enough of that rant. Probably didn't make any sense there anyhow. Most of you are going, fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about. Nope, I don't have a clue. So there was this interesting thing that came up in Strongman the other day. And this is probably something that a lot of you are aware of in the Strongman community. But the reason I bring this up at the end of the podcast, it's because it kind of translates, or it resonates through the rest of our community as well, within the lifting community and sports community in general. And what had happened was, and I'll kind of give you the breakdown. I wrote my notes down here to kind of keep me in the right direction here. So the backstory is that the Strongman Corp gave up, and I don't know how, amicably, whatever, and it wasn't a hostile takeover or anything, gave up the Arnold Pro Women's at the Arnold Classic. And they gave up the Pro Women's to Rogue, and rightfully so. Rogue is a leader in the industry. Rogue has deep pockets. And we all love what Rogue does with the Rogue CrossFit Games, and what they did with Strongman there, and the size of the purses and the type of equipment. Listen, I've got a shrine built, figuratively speaking, for Rogue. We all love what Rogue does, and what they bring to the table. I pay homage to them every day for what they've done in the Strongman community at large right now, with bringing these type of events, into our community. So this is, and I lead with that because this is a lot to do with Rogue and kind of the direction they're going in right now. So Rogue had got the America's Strongest Woman, or not America's Strongest Woman, excuse me, the Arnold Pro Women's, right? They took it over from Strongman Corp. And this will be the first year they do that. And they brought a $75,000 purse into the show, which is, listen, guys, are you fucking kidding me? A $75,000 purse into a pro women's show. Nobody's knocking that. That is exactly what we all want to see in the sport of strongman. We want to see equality for sure, and we're seeing that with that type of purse, but we're also seeing, these athletes now get rewarded for being professional athletes, so we love to see that. So what had happened was Strongman Corp gave out invitations to athletes that were invited to this year's Arnold Pro prior to Rogue taking it over. Once Rogue took it over, Rogue rescinded 2 of those invites, one to Holly McRae and one to Jackie. Jackie, if I butcher your name, I'm sorry. Osaveski. Holly had won the Arnold Amateur Invitational, and as a reward for that, as an award for that, she was given the invite to compete at the Arnold Pro in the next year. Far as I know, Jackie had taken second at Canada's Strongest Man, and Jackie was also given an invite. Now, I hear there's a little controversy over that. Kind of given, not given, sort of given. All of a sudden, it was there, now it's not there. I don't necessarily know the particulars on that, but she was invited, but then all of a sudden she wasn't. Jackie was also 7th at World's Strongest Woman this year. I need to make a note for that, and you'll know why I'm saying that. She was 7th in the world at World's Strongest Woman in the heavyweight class. Holly McRae won nationals twice. She won the Arnold Pro-Am, or the Arnold Amateur, and she also took 3rd at at World's Strongest Woman this year. So both these athletes are 100% deserving of those invites. They were rescinded, and they were rescinded because, Holly got a letter. I talked to Holly. The letter basically said, in a nutshell, and she's going to bring out her own story. that, she's a lightweight and she's not going to be able to keep up with these women. They're going to be too strong for her. Now, of course, we know that's not true. That's nonsense is what it is. First off, Holly's a lightweight by choice. She can be a middleweight if she wanted to. She can add 15 pounds and do a little growing and get ready for this show. So that's just ridiculous because middleweights are invited to the Arnold Pro. So that's a silly argument. She's I don't know what it is, Holly, 135, 140 pounds when you compete as a lightweight. So you put on 15, 16 pounds, whatever it is, and you compete as a middleweight. That makes no difference. Holly could do either or. She's short in stature, just fits her wheelhouse better to compete at a little bit lighter of a weight because she can. And she's incredibly strong. She would make most men in the gym look foolish, as would Jackie. These are professional, strong women at the very highest level that have earned their right to be at the Rogue Invitational, and their invites were rescinded. Why were they rescinded? Well, because Rogue felt, we're going to go ahead and change the sort of dynamic of this and the rules. We're not going to make it an invite show now, we're not going to make it a qualifying show. We're going to make it an invitational. So we're going to invite who we want to invite. And listen, they got it right to some degree. They invited 10 women, I think it was, and I can argue that, I would say probably 7 or 8 of them. I'm just being generalized here. No doubt, I think everybody would agree that they deserve to be there, 100%. No doubt about it. I mean, Melissa Peacock, Nadia Stowers, fucking right. Hannah Lindsay, no doubt about it. I mean, these girls deserve to be there. So I get no argument out of me there at all. But what Rogue did was they took the qualifier and turned it into an invitational halfway through it all. I mean, up until about a month ago or less, 2 weeks ago, Holly McRae and Jackie were getting ready to compete at the Arnold in their pro qualifier, or to be in the pro class through the qualifying that they did to get there. So imagine that. I want everybody to think about that for a minute. Who's ever on the fence about this, or whoever is siding one way or the other, let's all clean the slate right now. If you or anybody you know, or a team member of yours, a friend of yours, or just somebody in random, and you have zero skin in the game, whether you're a competitor or not, and you knew of 2 people that were invited to something, and 3 months out from the show, which is essentially when the programming starts for them, but probably started 3 months ago, their invitations were rescinded, you wouldn't be pissed off about that? I think we all would be pissed off about that. Who wouldn't be pissed off about that? Now, what we're getting is the mixed reviews. You get some people that go, well, it's Rogue's show. They can do what they want. Okay, listen, there's no argument for me there. It is Rogue's show. Rogue represents strongman at a very high level right now. However, just because it's Rogue's show doesn't make it right to do what they're doing. Okay, the other argument is, well, Rogue's throwing $75,000 at the show. Okay, what's your point? Rogue's throwing $75,000 at a show for 10 women to compete at the highest level. Absolutely 100% agree with it. We can't start compromising our integrity when it comes to invites and when it comes to these shows that are already in place because somebody's throwing money at it. Guys, that's a real slippery slope. I mean, we can't think that we should compromise the integrity of our sport or allow sponsors to compromise the integrity of our shows and the way things are supposed to be done and doing the right thing because they're throwing money at it. Don't ever wish that. Don't do it. Because it will affect us all someday. We don't want to see that. We need to make sure that our sponsors and the people that are throwing these shows understand the values, right? The ethics involved in this. And that they're the kind of company that would look at something like this and say, you know what? It may not be the way we want it right now. Maybe this year we're going to have to do things just a little bit differently because we owe it to the strongman community to do the right thing and make sure that these women's invitations are upheld. It's as simple as that. Problem solved, controversy over, done. Nope, that's not the way it went down. What happened was Rogue decided they were going to change the game midstream. No, we're not going to go ahead and do it as a qualifier anymore. We're going to do it as an invitational, and you 2 girls go get fucked. A strong word, right? Yeah, that's a strong word. That's about as strong as you can say it because that's exactly what they did. We don't want you there now because we don't think you bring to the show what we're looking for. Listen, you could argue that. I'm not going to take that away from you. If you don't think Holly McRae or Jackie Ozveski have what it takes to be at the show, listen, that's your opinion. I don't think anybody's going to argue what you think. I mean, I can argue it, but that's your opinion. I'm not going to take it away from you. That is not the point here. The point is they were given invitations to the show, and everybody knows they deserve to be there just simply by the principle of it all. The fact that they were invited to the show. How hard would it be for Rogue for 1 year, the very first year of the show, say, you know what? These ladies were invited. As much as we want to change it in the future, for this very first year, we're going to go ahead and just make this work the way it should. And we're going to accommodate these two ladies and make sure they're there competing. And nobody would have given it a second thought. Everybody within the strongman community, fans alike, would have agreed with that decision and said, you know what? It was the right thing to do. And then next year, sure, it's an invitational now, right? Let's just make it an invitational. And nobody would argue with it. Rogue has an invitational right now. I mean, what do you think the Arnold Pro is for the men? It's an invitational. You're invited to it. You don't qualify for that anymore, I don't think. Might be one qualifier. Maybe that's America's Strongest Man, I think, can get you there for one of the spots. But my point is that Rogue has complete power to make this right, and they're not doing it. And it's sad because what it really shows is a company that the entire strongman community is looking up to right now because they've done such good for the sport, are bringing such publicity to the sport and bringing money into the sport, now are dictating to the rest of the strongman community the way they're going to run things. You would think there'd be a little bit more loyalty and a little bit more integrity to all these athletes that are looking at them at in a different light too, right? I get it, guys. It's not the way the world works. Joe, quit your crying. This is corporate America for you. They put the money out. They can dictate the way they want it done. Really? Are we all just going to sit back, not have a voice, and say that's okay, and have another company just run over, the integrity of something? In this case, our sport of strongman, because we all know it's not the right thing to do. And a lot of people are keeping their mouths shut about it right now. Oh, they are too. Oh, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want the backlash of Rogue not to invite me to one of their shows because they're going to own this strongman community someday, and I don't want to make them mad because for generations I'll be punished, and my children's children will be punished because I said something that was right. Shame on you guys. Shame on all you guys, pros alike, that are out there right now that aren't standing up for the fact that these two women aren't being invited to this show. Shame on all you guys. There's nothing wrong with saying what you believe in at all. And I don't think even the higher-ups at Rogue would disagree with me there, despite the fact that you're saying what they're doing is wrong. Because we have a right to voice our opinions, whether or not these companies want to hear it or not. Listen, there's a reason Rogue is investing $75,000 into strongman. Guys, it's not because it's charity. They're not giving $75,000 to strongman and these strong women because, well, we're just going to help out this sad little sport of strong woman or strongman. They know there's value in this sport. They're not doing this for fun. They're doing this because they know there's value in this strongman community. There's value in what we're bringing to this community. There's value what our family and friends and fans and everybody else is bringing into this community. So why start off on the wrong foot? Why not just do the right thing? Be embraced by this community in this sport. Don't cause any controversy. Show the integrity that we all know Rogue has and make the right decision. Because this isn't charity. They're not donating to a show to change a show just to be friends and be nice to everybody. They know there's value here. And there's even more value when you stand behind the integrity of these invites. So do it. Show everybody that you're doing the right thing, Rogue. This is fucking the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. So add 2 more spots to the strongman stage. Keep everybody that you've invited and add 2 more spots. Do you think anybody would give a shit? Listen, I can tell you both these women, they're not zeroing all these fucking events. I can tell you both of them, in their own minds, are going to know what they're capable and not capable of doing. and they're going to give it 100%. And I guarantee you that everybody would be cheering them on. Wouldn't that be great to see a lightweight open competitor, pro strong woman like Holly McRae compete at the pro Arnold Women's? Not just compete, but wouldn't it be great if she surprised the world, if she did some things there that nobody expected and beat some people there that nobody expected and stirred up the pot a little bit, stole some points from a few women that nobody expected? Think about that. We'd all get behind that because that's why we love the sport. We love the unknown about strongman. We want to see these, these underdogs, if you will, mess up the narrative a little bit and give us an opportunity to compete for or to get behind them in their competitions. So Rogue is really missing the boat here because they could have did the right thing. They could have got these women involved, and they could have created a whole different narrative, maybe just for this one Arnold Pro Women, and that would have been a great thing to see. So I hope Rogue does the right thing. I know that Holly sent an email out to Rogue, and I know Holly's going to be telling her own story. I've reached out to Holly and had some conversations with her about this. Not Jackie, but I'm sure Jackie mirrors Holly's thoughts on all this. And I'm not speaking for you, Jackie, and I'm going to reach out to you. But in any case, Holly's got her own story to tell when this is all said and done. But she is certainly doing the right thing right now and trying to reach out to Rogue and get a better explanation as to why she's not going to be there. And essentially, she's fighting for her spot, and she should. And her coach is fighting for her spot, as he should, because she deserves to be there. She's a pro strong woman with an incredible resume that deserves an opportunity to compete at the highest level, period. Enough said. That's the one issue about Rogue. That's the one issue that I think is worth this episode and talking about it. There's another issue with Rogue, and I'm not even going to get into that. I'm not so sure it's so much an issue right now. Better served maybe for another show leading up to this event, and I'll get to that. And I think you guys know what that is. It's Tamara Wolcott's invite to the Arnold Pro Strong Woman as a power lifter, not as a strong woman. But I'm not talking about that today simply because I don't think one has to do with the other. And I think it's important for all you guys out there. Again, you're going to have your own opinion on this, but this is where I'm coming from. Don't confuse the two. Tamara being invited to the Rogue Pro Women's at the Arnold has nothing to do with Holly McRae's invite. It doesn't. That's a different thing altogether. And don't skew the two. What I'm getting at is don't knock Tamara for the invite. Listen, any one of us out there, if we're invited to the Arnold Pro Women's Strongman, if in fact you were a woman and you were qualified to go and you were one of the stronger women on the planet, it's not her fault. She was invited to it. So, and I don't think that most of us know that it has nothing. One doesn't have anything to do with the other. That's why I'm not talking about that today. I wanted to talk about the real issue at hand, and that's the invitations being rescinded to Holly and Jackie. That there's another conversation that could be had about tomorrow's invite, and it's worth having a conversation over, and we'll have it in a future show for sure. But I wanted just to mention this to all you folks out there, that Holly McRae and Jackie Ozveski and their invitations being rescinded, I think, is the bigger issue here. Because Rogue has the responsibility to do the right thing here, to prove to the strongman community and the fans of strongman that they're here to be a part of this sport and to grow with the sport, be an advocate of this sport, and to lead with integrity by example. And they're just simply not doing that right now. And I hope that they come to their senses, do the right thing here, and get these two ladies back into the Arnold Pro, because we all would love to see them there. And boy, wouldn't that make for some drama now, seeing these girls compete at that level and maybe stirring things up a little bit. So anyhow, that's all I got to say today, Ben, about the show here on Fit Jack and Stack. Got a little worked up there, rightfully so. I've been thinking about it and stewing on it all week, and tried to articulate myself the best way without my emotions getting the best of me there, because it does piss me right off that I see this kind of stuff happening to the sport that is most dear and near to my heart, of course, in that strong man and strong woman. So in any case, reach out to Holly McRae, reach out to Jackie Ozveski. I think it's Jackie, and Holly McRae is, how do I not know this? Well, just look up Holly McRae. you could, I think it's McRae Strong Fitness. In any case, reach out to them on Instagram, show them some love and support, repost these posts you're seeing out there, Get Rogue's attention with all your voices, and we might actually see some good being done here. So we're behind you, ladies. I'm sure most of the community is. And for those of you who aren't, think about it for a minute. If it was a little closer to home, I think you probably would be. Don't be so selfish. Joe, Fit, Jacked, and Stacked, we'll talk to you and see you next week. Let's try to get in right after the Olympia, of course. Until then,